Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm a rascal. I can't help myself. But anyway, guys, welcome back. This is part 12 of my 2025 DVD and Blu-ray collection overview. Last time we did over an hour on Stallone movies, so we're going to get into Steven Seagal in a minute here, but I'm not going to spend an hour on Steven Seagal, so I'll say that. But we will kick back into gear here. Got the remnants of the front shelf on the bottom here, and then we'll tackle the two rows in the back, and then we will work our way up through this shelf, and then we'll work the other quarter of that shelf as Blu-rays, and then we'll finish up with Blu-ray, and then we'll start move for now because there's more Blu-rays, but we'll finish up Blu-ray in the next couple segments here if I don't keep talking about Stallone movies for an hour. Again, not that people are going to complain, but there's always one asshole, and then we'll move into some DVDs. So first up, we have the Harold and Kumar trilogy, a franchise that I actually like all the movies. Love the Harold and Kumar movies. I know they keep talking about doing a fourth one. To be honest, I have no interest. It's way too late. And they'd probably make it woke and gay and everything. Kumar would be gay because the guy that plays him in real life is gay. So, everything's got to be gay. So there you go. But first up, we have a double feature of White Castle and Escape from Guantanamo Bay. White Castle is honestly one of my all-time favorite comedies. I don't care. Yes, it's a stoner comedy. But remember when they used to make stoner comedies? They used to be fun. Now everyone's a stoner, so it's not funny anymore. But I always loved that one the most. Guantanamo Bay is fun. I think it's a good sequel. And I do love, once again, that, they are on separate discs. Now, I know it's Blu-ray. It's higher quality. You can more of a bit rate. You know what I mean? But I still love when they separate the movies. It's always fun. And look at that. Delicious sliders. I love White Castle. The problem is the closest White Castle to me is 2 hours away. Now, the frozen ones that you get at the grocery store, they're close to the actual White Castle, because that's a question that people always ask me, like, are the frozen ones as good? I'm like, they are, and they're close, but, the real ones, the fresh ones, are obviously better. But I got to get in touch with my man Alice Cooper, because he's in the White Castle Hall of Fame. Maybe we could get one, open here at some point. We'll see. But I really enjoy all the Harold and Kumar movies. But White Castle is one of my all-time favorite stoner comedies, to be honest. And then we have the Christmas movie, which I do like this one as well. They're all fun. They're all just goofy, fun comedies. When they used to make goofy, fun comedies, I know we're not allowed to do that anymore because everyone has fucking feelings all of a sudden and shit, and nothing can be funny. So there you go. But good stuff. I wish they would do a full claymation movie like they did in the scene, like another Christmas movie just like that, like the old Rankin Bass specials, because that would be pretty fun to see. Then we have honestly my favorite Walter Hill movie, my favorite Nick Nolte movie. We got Extreme Prejudice. Cannot go wrong with Extreme Prejudice. We have the Vestron Video Collector's Edition when they were more affordable, when they were $12 a piece at Walmart. Now they're on the website. You can only get them on their website, and they're like $40. What the fuck? Inflation. So there you go. But again, my favorite Walter Hill movie, my favorite Nick Nolte movie. Hopefully one day they will find the deleted scenes, because so much got cut out of this movie. Andrew Robinson was in this film, and they cut all his scenes out. And when I met Andrew Robinson, I did bring that up. I said, it's a shame that you were cut out of Extreme Prejudice. And he said, honestly, I would have rather have been cut out of Cobra than Extreme Prejudice. And I said, really? And then the handler moved me away, and he started telling the story to the next guy in line, and I missed it. So next time I meet him, I'll have to bring that up. Maybe I can get that story out of there. But I was so pissed about that. But Either way, in its form that it came out, I still love this movie. I think it's a classic. And it's really at its core a Western. And then I do have this nice German media book. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this has different extra features than this. Because there's an interview with Walter Hill on both of these, but I think that they're different. And then there has the making of from back in the day. But yeah, I want to say that the interviews with Walter Hill are different. I could be wrong. But I love these. Who put this out? Was this a studio release or no? I don't think it was. No, Koch Films, so it might have been. But I love these. It's a two disc Blu-ray? No, it's a Blu-ray DVD, my bad. But I love these German media books. They're so much nicer than the ones they put out here. Why is that? There you go. Classic shot. Great cast in that movie, too. And then I have the only two Underworld movies I actually like. Underworld was a franchise that I could never get into. They were, when I was a teenager, they were really big. Because I think the first one was what, 05? Or 03? Let me look at it. 03, so I was 11? Okay. But most of them came out, like, the sequel was 06, so I was 14. So preteen, teenage years, those movies were really big. That and fucking Resident Evil was all everybody wanted to talk about. I don't fucking like any of the Resident Evil movies. I only like the first two Underworlds. Even then, do I think that they're the greatest movies ever? No. But I do like them for what they are. So we have the first film, and this is the director's cut. I still have the DVD, because the DVD has a different commentary track from the director. And it's so funny because when Live Free or Die Hard was announced, of course, Len Wiseman directed that. And everybody lost their fucking shit. They're like, oh my god, the guy that did fucking Underworld's going to do a Die Hard movie? And that's his best movie. So there you go. It just goes to show you. And then we have Underworld Evolution, which I actually did see this in the theater when it came out. I went with a guy that I am no longer friends with for many reasons. But yeah, the first two I like. Other than that, they suck. I saw the prequel, which was the third one. The same guy, when that came out in theaters, he went to go see that. I went to go see Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood, which I snuck into, by the way. And not because it was rated R, because I think I was 17 at the time. It was because they sold out. I walked into the theater, there were plenty of seats still available, so I just picked a fucking seat. And it was fine. So I paid for Valkyrie with Tom Cruise, which I still have never seen, and I snuck into Gran Torino, and I didn't get caught. So there you go. And again, it wasn't because of the age, because I think I was 7, because that was what, 2008? Or maybe I was 16. Yeah, 16. So I would have got caught anyway. It doesn't matter. I got to see Clint Eastwood on the big screen, so there you go. But I saw that when it came out on DVD. That movie was fucking terrible. And then I didn't even bother to watch the rest, but I heard the rest weren't that good. So the first two are all right. That's when Kate Beckinsale, her face looked normal before she got plastic surgery, because she was fucking hot back in the day before she got plastic surgery. So there you go. Not big on the Underworld saga. Sorry. Alright, so now we're going to get into Steven Seagal. I'm not going to spend an hour on Steven Seagal, but, I know in more recent years, like, everyone makes fun of him. Hell, me and Rambo Raff were making fun of him before it was cool. But I know he's just, everyone just, Steven Seagal is a fucking goof. I mean, he is, but, there was a time, and people don't realize this, there was a time when he was actually a star, and he was cool, and he was a badass, and then his ego got out of control very quickly, like Vin Diesel, and after his movies stopped making money, nobody wanted to work with him, and then he went straight to video, and he was still getting away with it because his name still had value at the time. But the first 10 movies or so, Above the Law to Fire Down Below, or I think all those movies, with the exception of Executive Decision, because Executive Decision was fucking terrible. I think all those movies are good. They're well shot. There's good action scenes. After that, it kind of gets sketchy. It kind of gets weird, But I just find it so funny that in more recent years, he's become the punching bag, and it's like, well, me and Rambo Raff were doing this before everybody else, so we should get a fucking award or something. So there you go. But let's go ahead and get it on. So first up, we have Above the Law. Love Above the Law. Hopefully, because Arrow okay, here's the thing. I know people are freaking out. I did the video. People are freaking about Warner Brothers getting sold. Do you really think that Netflix is going to have all the Steven Seagal movies on their streaming service? Probably not. So there you go. But they will, because Arrow has already had all these movies lined up and stuff. That's all still coming out. Like, that's money that whoever's going to buy Warner Brothers, that's money coming in. Do you really think they're going to give that up for the sake of a fucking streaming service? Probably not. So there you go. But Under Siege comes out in a couple weeks. They did say there's at least, I think, 2 more coming out. So they'll probably... I'd love to see Under Siege 2, to be honest, because I like Under Siege 2. But they'll probably do... Honestly, Under Siege 2 and maybe this or Hard to Kill. Probably this, though. We'll see. But I love Above the Law. I remember reading, like, people thought it was confusing. I'm like, there's nothing... maybe Seagal, but, there's nothing confusing in this movie. I don't know what you guys are confused about, but, nobody saw Aikido really before, and people were taken back by it, so there you go. But in the some of you younger people don't know, I know this was 88, but in the 90s, that's all everybody talked about was Steven Seagal. So some of you weren't alive then, but anyway. But you can't go wrong with classic. I love that it takes place in Chicago, and I love the musical score, and Andrew Davis is a great director. Really good cast in it. Some great action scenes. You can't go wrong. And then we have Hard to Kill, or as Kelly LeBrock calls it, Hard to Watch. At the time, they were still married. Kelly LeBrock was kind of done with acting, but she only did the movie as a favor for him. I think this is when they still got along. Later, there were issues. I think he beat her up and shit like that, and of course he did. And she didn't care for the film. Like, she said it was called Hard to Watch and shit like that. But again, in the realm of the classic Seagal movies, I mean, you got great fight scenes. Again, musical score done by David Michael Frank, who did Under Siege and would later, or not Under Siege, who did Above the Law, and would later do Out for Justice. Bruce Malmuth directed it. Him and Seagal didn't get along, but I don't think Bruce Malmuth got along with anybody, because he did Nighthawks, but him and Stallone didn't get along. He was the original director for Stone Cold with the Boz, but he got fired because he couldn't keep it together. So there you go. So I don't think this was a case of, Seagal maybe Seagal being a dick, but I don't think he got along with a lot of people. I think he had a lot of personal issues that spilled over into his work, and I think that's ultimately why he died so young. So there you go. But Hard to Kill is another early classic, Seagal just kicking ass and taking names and shooting people in the face and blowing shit up, and good old fashioned American action, as Stallone said in Tango and Cash. So there's that. And then we have Marked for Death, which is never going to get a re-release because it's Disney. So there's that. Oh, Hard to Kill. This one was out of print. I don't know what it goes for now. I think I got mine like right when it went out of print, so you could still get them decently priced. Marked for Death, though, this one for a little bit, again, I don't know what it looks like now, because once more, if something goes out of print and I already have it, I don't look at the prices because I'm not going to resell it, because I'll actually love this movie. I love. But this is never going to get a re-release because it's Disney, but because it was Fox, now it's owned by Disney. But I love Marked for Death. This was always one of my... I would probably put this at 3. Out for Justice would be 1. Under Siege would be 2. And then it would be this. But just Seagal, again, kicking ass, taking names. Dwight Little directed the film, which Seagal wanted to work with him for Hard to Kill, but he got vetoed because Seagal was actually a big fan of Halloween 4, oddly enough. And he really wanted to work with Dwight Little. And this is just old school, classic action, 90s action, blowing shit up, people getting killed, people getting broken bones, and all practical, There's some great action in here. Always really enjoyed this movie. This was definitely one of the better ones. And it's funny because when it came out, it was the most violent movie of 1990. Home Alone wasn't. So, there you go. And then both of these came out in the same year, and they were both big hits. So there you go. They were actually they were filming Marked for Death when Hard to Kill came out, and Dwight Little said the weekend after this came out, after opening weekend, all these people showed up at the set. Everybody wanted to talk to Seagal, and there was agents and lawyers and this and that. And he said it was nuts. And he said, Dwight Little said him and Seagal got along fine. There were no issues. But he did say, I was told my screenwriter buddy, the guy that wrote Sector 4, he worked with Jason Richter. Jason Richter was the kid from Free Willy. His mom is married to Dwight Little, so Dwight Little is his stepdad, and he got to work with him and got some stories, and he said that there was about a week on Marked for Death where Seagal got mad because Seagal is a fucking child, and he would only speak Japanese to everybody, although no one on the crew spoke Japanese. The only person he wouldn't speak Japanese to was Dwight Little, so there you go. But Dwight Little said that they got along fine. I think he also said they were trying to work together again. They were trying to do another movie together. It just didn't happen for whatever reason. But, Marked for Death is a classic. And then we have my favorite, which was always my favorite, Out for Justice. Hopefully Arrow will do this one. We'll see what happens. But classic as far as I'm concerned. Just Seagal at his best, at least in my opinion. But the funniest thing about this is William Forsythe, who was the best part of the movie, to be honest. He told a story where he said one day Seagal walked up to him and said, you really need to work on your Brooklyn accent. And William Forsythe just kind of chuckled and said, no, Steven, trust me, you do. William Forsythe is from Brooklyn. And it's great because he actually got to use his natural accent in this movie. So there you go. But I love William Forsythe. He's one of the people that I would like to meet the most because he just, everything I've heard about him, he's a great guy. He's just a lovely guy. And it's weird because he plays all these psychos, but those are usually the ones that are the nicest guys. The heroes are typically the assholes. What a shock. Like Steven Seagal. But Out for Justice is where the fuck it's at, so there you go. And then we have Under Siege, which of course is getting an Arrow release in a few weeks. I will definitely be picking that up. Probably if I could stop dropping shit, probably day one. But Under Siege, what more could you say about Under Siege that has not been said before? So there's that. And then I have On Deadly Ground, but this is a bootleg because Warner Brothers never put it out on Blu-ray for whatever reason, which is weird. Because they re-released it on the Warner Archive, but they only put it out on DVD, and at the time that they put it out, they were doing Blu-rays, so I don't know why they didn't just do a Blu-ray of it, but it's actually pretty good quality for a bootleg. I can't complain. So there is HD versions out there. Warner Brothers was just too lazy to put it out themselves on Blu-ray. Now, I like the film. Do I give a fuck about the 15-minute or the 5? Originally, it was like 30 minutes. Do I give a shit about the 10-minute speech or whatever about Seagal talking about the environment? No, because over 30 years later, no one died. The world didn't end. We didn't live through Waterworld. Kevin Costner didn't take us to dry land. I think we're okay. Al Gore's full of shit, okay? So there you go. But the action sequences are awesome. Allegedly, I heard that Seagal directed it. I heard Seagal didn't direct it. So I don't know what's true because, again, I was not there. But it is well directed. I love the Alaska setting. There's some really great looking shots in the movie as well. Michael Caine is a great bad guy as always. And Michael Caine said that him and Seagal got along fine. Mike Starr, who is the guy that Seagal beats up in the beginning from Dumb and Dumber and so many great other movies like Goodfellas. He was Puda the Clown in Uncle Buck. When I met him, I brought this up because Seagal was good to me, dude. He goes, he was really cool with me. Him and I got along fine. We had, we did our fight scene. There was no issues. He says him and I really got along well. So, he's a good guy when he chose to be back in the day. But yeah, I don't give a fuck about the environmental shit and the weird dream scene with him fighting the bear and I don't care about that. I never cared about that. But when he's snapping necks and blowing shit up and it's all practical and it's real, yeah, I care because there is some really good action in the movie. You can't deny that. He flips the shotgun around and he kills Arlie Ermy, and when he's fighting the guys with the pole, which that was added, that was a reshoot because it wasn't in the original cut, and Warner Brothers was like, we need more action because it's a Steven Seagal movie. People want to see you shoot and kill. They don't want to see you talking about how oil is bad. Which again, 30 years later, nobody's dead, so I think we're okay. It was all bullshit. I've been telling you guys for years, you don't want to fucking listen. Anyway. Then we have Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, which I always like. I don't know, and recently, everybody's shitting on Under Siege 2. Why? There's just some movies that I don't understand why people shit on. This and Predator 2 is why do you hate Predator 2? Because Arnold's not in it? Fuck off. But, I've always liked it. I think it's a solid sequel. The first one is better, but this is a solid sequel. It didn't do as well as the first, so there you go. But it made money. It just didn't make as much as the first. Because the first one did, I think, 80 million in America. It did over 100 million worldwide. This one, I think, did 100 million even worldwide. But it only did 50, I think, in the States. But I still like it. Again, hopefully Arrow will do this one. Because I'd like to see Under Siege 2 with some extras. If you're going to do the first one, you might as well do the second one. But yeah, the CG is shitty. The effects are really shitty in the movie, but the practical stuff is really good. I can't complain about that. And the action scenes are good. I can't complain about that either. So there's that. And then I have a Spanish bootleg of The Glimmer Man because it never got a release here on Blu-ray, but it's still good quality. Can't complain. I think there's a trailer and stuff on here, so they tried to do a little bit with it. But a lot of the Blu-rays that come from Spain, like True Lies, they're all bootlegs, okay? They're not official releases. I don't know why some people think they are. They're just fancy bootlegs. But I've always really liked this film. I know this was the back end. I think after Under Siege 2, people just stopped giving a fuck about Seagal because that's when all the shit came out in the news about how he I have to say allegedly, that's how he allegedly, apparently he allegedly beat up Kelly LeBrock, which we all know he did. And he had it, before Arnold did it, he got his nanny pregnant, and I think she might have been underage. I don't know what's true and what's not true, but I don't know. Again, as a human being, he's a scumbag. As a human being, he's a piece of shit. All the sexual harassment, and I believe it. I could just see him sitting there on a movie set talking about, these women and shit like that, because he's a scum. Juliana Margulis, who was in Out for Justice. Then she was on ER. ER made her a star. I remember she told a story where Seagal randomly showed up to the set of ER, and he was like, why don't you come over here and show me some fucking respect and all this other shit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a dick. I get it. But, he made some fucking good movies back in the day. Anyway. But this is one that I always enjoyed. I remember seeing this when it first came out on VHS. Same with this. I remember watching this movie when it first came out on video. Under Siege, I remember we had Under Siege on a recorded VHS. So I used to watch that all the time. And it's funny because I don't know what happened. That tape magically disappeared. And then Under Siege 2 was just constantly on cable growing up. So I used to watch it all the time. But this is one, again, I remember watching when it first came out on video and TV and everything. And I would love, I don't know if Arrow would ever do it, but I would love if they could at least find get the deleted scenes on there. I'm trying to find the damn TV version of this because the TV version has more scenes in it and I can't find it anywhere. So there you go. And then the last of the classic Seagal movies, I have a bootleg of Fire Down Below because once again, Warner Brothers, for whatever reason, I guess they felt they weren't going to sell. They didn't put out On Deadly Ground, Glimmer Man, or Fire Down Below officially on Blu-ray. But like I said earlier about On Deadly Ground, they re-released it on the archive collection, but they only put it on DVD. I don't know why they didn't just put it on Blu-ray. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but oh well. But those are the classic Seagal films. Fuck Executive Decision. I never liked that movie. Not just because Seagal dies in the first 45 minutes. It's because it's not a good movie. It's boring. It's a fucking... Nothing happens until the ending of the movie. And then even then, it's not that exciting. Fuck Executive Decision. I never liked that movie. That's another one that I saw when it first came out on VHS. And I remember watching it. And then after Seagal died, I remember taking a nap. So there you go. There's that. Alright, now we have Exit Wounds, which was him trying to make a comeback, which this actually did very well. I think it did like 80 million in America, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But it did very well, but it didn't last that long. But I do like it. The only thing I don't like is the wire foo, because that was never... I know Seagal didn't... He talked about it. He said he didn't like it either. I think I heard he said he broke his leg. I don't think that's true. I think he popped his knee out of place or something, and they just popped it back in. But he hurt his knee. I don't think he broke his leg, because he went on The Art of Action with Scott Adkins, and he was like, I broke my leg doing that movie. No, you didn't. I think he just tweaked his knee pretty bad, and they fixed it, and he was fine. But I don't like the wire foo because that was never Seagal's style. But they did that because, The Matrix had just come out a couple years prior, and that's what everybody was doing, and they didn't want Seagal to do... Because I think the other fight scenes, he doesn't really do the Aikido in those fight scenes. It's more of the wire foo, and it's more gunplay in that film, which I'm okay with, but I guess Warner Brothers felt like that's old, and nobody wants to see that anymore. And the other thing about this movie is they had to give Seagal a movie because when he did, after On Deadly Ground came out, he signed a new deal. Actually, no, I'm sorry. After Under Siege came out, I said I wasn't going to do an hour on Seagal, but it looks like we're going to get there. Sorry. He said that... No. Let me back up a second. My bad. After Under Siege came out, because Under Siege was a huge hit, he signed a new deal with Warner Brothers. The deal was he got to direct On Deadly Ground. He had to star in Under Siege 2. That was a part of the deal. You will star in Under Siege 2 if we let you direct On Deadly Ground. He had to do Executive Decision because On Deadly Ground went over budget and over schedule, and he had to be in that movie, and I think he had to take a pay cut. That was a part of the deal. So he got to direct a movie. He had to star in Under Siege 2, and then they forced him to be an Executive Decision for a lower rate so they could balance the books, basically, which we all know is bullshit. So then after that, he did Glimmer Man, which didn't do that well, and then Fire Down Below was a project that he was wanting to do for a while. He was going to do that with Sony because his deal was he had to do, I think, 3 movies with Warner Brothers. He got to do a movie with another company, and then he had to come back to Warner Brothers to do another movie. But that didn't happen, because Fire Down Below ended up getting put in Turnaround. Turnaround, for those of you that don't know, is when you take two scripts and you flip them. So that's what happened with Speed. Speed was at Paramount. Fox got Speed, and then I think Paramount got Executive Decision, which then went to Warner Brothers. I think that was the story. But anyway, Fire Down Below, Sony didn't want to do the movie, so then Warner Brothers got it. So Seagal couldn't, he got locked in. So he actually, after Fire Down Below, he had an extra movie on his deal. And instead of paying him millions of dollars to walk away, more than what it would have cost, he had one movie left on his deal, which was Exit Wounds. It was supposed to be The Patriot, but the Warner Brothers looked at it and said, we can't fucking sell this because no one's going to watch it. So they sold that to Disney, and then Disney put that out on video, and then he was owed one movie, so instead of paying him more money to walk away, they paid him less to do Exit Wounds. So, and I think, like, they told him, you got to lose weight because you got to go to the fucking gym, dude. You can't be fat because you're an action star. And you're not Sammo Hung. Only Sammo Hung can do that. Because Sammo Hung may be fat, but he's very agile and flexible. But he had to lose weight and everything. And, I think there were issues still with his ego because DMX said he was a prick, which I believe. Imagine that. DMX being the nice guy in the situation, you know what I mean? No, I don't mean to say it like... I think DMX had a lot of demons. I think he was a good person. I just think he had a lot going on inside. And then that was it with Warner Brothers, so there you go. And then he went and he tried to recreate the success with Half Past Dead, but it didn't really work. I like it for what it is. This is one that... Number one, it was PG-13. I didn't get to see it in the theater. I wanted to go see it in the theater. I wanted to see Exit Wounds in the theaters, but nobody would take me because I was only 9 when it came out. But, this was one that HBO and Cinemax would run a lot, and it was PG-13, so it was on during the day and stuff. Actually, I think that rule was over by that time. Because back in the day, there was a rule... HBO could only show PG and PG-13 movies before 9 o'clock. After 9 o'clock, they could show rated R movies. I know, weird for premium cable, but oh well. But it's okay. I don't know why he wore a fucking do-rag in the entire movie. It doesn't make any sense, but it is Steven Seagal we're talking about, so there you go. Now we're going to get into the direct-to-video territory. Most of them are not good. Some of these, I think, are great comedies. So there you go. First up, we have Out for a Kill, where this is the one where he does the fight scene in the chair because he was fucking lazy. But it's there. It's got some dumb fun moments. Another one, Belly of the Beast, which has some dumb fun... Oh, Jesus. Some dumb fun moments. Then we have Attack Force, which is the worst direct-to-video movie that he did, and Into the Sun, which is actually one of the bright spots that he did. Into the Sun does not have a standalone release, which is why I had to buy this. So, again, you put the worst one with one of the better ones. Go fucking figure. Call it irony at its finest. But Into the Sun is one of the better ones. Sony thought about actually putting that in the theaters. And Seagal actually, gave a shit and tried in that one. I think he used some doubles for maybe some wide shots or something where he's just walking. I think most of the action scenes it is him. So there you go. And then we have, which one came out first? Fuck it, I don't know. I think it was this one. Today You Die. So, and then you'll notice this is from Germany, because it never came out here. The other two came out in America. This is from Germany. It's okay, It's, again, him trying to be black and everything. Motherfucker, you're not black, okay? You're a fucking white boy from Michigan, okay? And then we have Mercenary for Justice, which has good action scenes, don't get me wrong, but I still don't know what the hell's going on in the movie. I don't think that's just a me thing. I think it's everybody doesn't know what's going on. And then we have, these two are the best of the direct-to-video movies that he did. We got this nice German media book of urban justice, because Seagal actually tried with this. He gave his shit. Yeah, he didn't lose weight, but he actually did most of the fight scenes and the action scenes, and it's coherent and makes sense. It's just kind of an old school action movie. It's like his version of Death Wish 3. So, there you go. But this is definitely one of the best ones that he did. And then we have Pistol Whip, which is an Italian release because it never came out here. This one is actually pretty good. This is more of like him trying to go back to Above the Law, stuff like that. But these two, people always ask me, are there any direct-to-video Steven Seagal movies that you would recommend? Well, yeah, it would be these three: Into the Sun, Urban Justice, and Pistol Whipped. The rest of them, if you are a brave soul, go for it. If not, I don't blame you. So there's that. Me, I'm a fucking glutton for punishment. These are okay. These are decent. They're not amazing, but these are actually watchable. We got Driven to Kill, which it's there. It's okay. It's serviceable. And then we have The Keeper, which is him trying to do kind of Man on Fire. And then we have A Dangerous Man, because you gotta have that 3-word title for Seagal movies. And this is actually, these are Canadian releases, so still North America, And then we have Born to Raise Hell. So yeah, this is the era when he kind of got better for a little bit, and then he just went back to being shitty. And some of them, he actually lost a little bit of weight and, tried to make a little bit of an effort. Not much, but... And that's the thing. Like, I know I am not a pillar of physical fitness, but I am not as fat as Steven Seagal is, and nor am I an action star, But the guy has all the money in the world, and you mean to tell me that... Not that he would need a personal trainer, he's just fucking lazy, but come on, dude. You can't be that. You can't be fat and expect to live a good life. And I'm surprised, that he's still kind of walking around and shit like that too. So I don't know. I don't know what his secret is. And then the last one that I have here is Maximum Conviction. And I have this more for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I like him in this movie. I would love to ask Stone Cold Steve Austin about this. What was it like working with Steven Seagal? But Bren Foster, I think he's one of the bad guys in this, who would later be in Life After Fighting, which I really enjoyed. So he's in this movie as one of the villains, and then Michael Pere is also in it, who I also love Michael Pere. Always plays a good villain. So yeah, you got Stone Cold, you got a couple other people in there, so I can kind of watch it more for them. So what I'm gonna do, fuck it, we're gonna wrap this row up here, and then we'll jump into these next time. So first up we have Better Off Dead, classic, one of my favorite 80s comedies, to be honest. I don't know, you already know what I'm gonna say, I don't know why this movie never got a super duper deluxe Blu-ray with features. I know John Cusack is a fucking retard now, because all he talks about is politics, because his career's over. It's funny how that works. I know he said he didn't like the movie, and then he said he did like the movie. Well, motherfucker, which is it? You know what I mean? But again, this is one of my favorite 80s comedies ever since I was a kid. I think it was like on HBO or something, and my mom was like, "Oh, like you gotta watch this movie, and it's hilarious." I'm like, "Okay, cool, I'll watch it." I must respect my mother, right? Mother, I don't want to go to school today. Sorry. Then we have American Graffiti, which it does have extras on here, but I guess Universal wants too much money for it, but I'm surprised they've never done like Arrow or Criterion or one of the boutique labels, because this movie would be ripe for the picking for them. But like I said, I assume Universal Studios wants too much money. And then they would probably have to do the sequel. It'd probably be a package deal. I don't like the sequel. I saw it once. It had nothing that made the original what it is. So there you go. And then we have, this was actually sent to me by, oh my God, what's his name? Oh shit, I can't remember his name. Drawing a blank. I'm trying to. Port Film Co-op. Yes, I think he got mad at me. One did a paid request, and he didn't like the way that the paid request turned out, or whatever. Anyway, but he did send this to me. Stalker, which is a Russian film from the 70s. Really good movie though. Really enjoyed this. Highly influential movie as well. So there you go. But cool stuff. But yeah, I know he sent that to me. Again, I think he got mad because, again, when I would do the paid request, there would be people, they would send in the paid request and then they would get mad because it was either A, not to their liking, or B, that's not what they sent in. Well, you have to tell me what you want. I'm not a mind reader. So there you go. Anyway, then we have Nacho Libre. Just a dumb, fun comedy by the guy that did Napoleon Dynamite. This is when Jack Black was still actually funny before he turned into a professional retard. So there's that. That's what I call these people. I call them professional retards because that's what they are. Then we have Monster House, which I love this movie. It's a lot of fun. Really like the animation style in here. I don't think it did well, which is why we never got a sequel, but it is a good movie. And I don't remember... There was a video game for it, but I don't know if I still have it or not. I might. I'm not sure. And then we have Psycho, the 60th anniversary edition. I think there's a box set or something out there, which I do want to pick up. But I think I found this cheap at FYE when... FYE is going to be the next one to go. I'm telling you now. So there's that. But gotta love Psycho. And this was the first time that the uncut version came out because they cut out like Janet Leigh walking around in her underwear. Like, it wasn't for violence or anything like that. It was apparently Janet Leigh walking around in her bra and panties was too much in the 60s. Just like one of the, not the shower scene, but I mean the shower scene was controversial when it came out, but one of the most controversial things about this movie that nobody talks about is the toilet flushing. This was, I think, the first movie to show a toilet flushing, and back in the day, that was considered taboo. You couldn't have that in a movie. And go figure, So again, I know people get upset about cancel culture and all this shit. It's always been around. It's just, it always has a different name. When I was a kid, it was political correctness. Now it's cancel culture. It's just, it changes its name every couple of years. You put a fresh coat of paint on it. That's all. Oh well. Anyway, we have the Arrow release of Elvira, Mrs. of the... Not Mistress, Mrs. That's what my uncle calls it. Mrs. of the Dark. This is the Steelbook, which I didn't plan on buying. I just found it cheap. But I was like, it's not bad. It's cool. So there you go. And I like this movie. There is a German release. And everybody loves titties. So there's that. There's a German release out there which has more features. I do want to grab that. But fun movie. I've always really liked this one. This one, not so much. But I do have it because I think there's a commentary with Elvira. But we have Elvira's Haunted Hills, which was the sequel. I remember, yeah, there is a commentary with Elvira on here, so that's why I grabbed it. And then it has the introductions like she would do for her movies. That's on here. There's some other extras, but I remember as a kid, this was one that was like always on regular, like Fox would show it like on the weekends, especially around Halloween, because I guess the rights were so cheap. But it's okay. It's definitely not Mrs. of the Dark. I will always call it Mrs. of the Dark because that's what my uncle calls her. Elvira, Mrs. of the Dark. I believe Elvira, I know her name is Cassandra Peterson, but it's Elvira to me. Elvira, I know she produced the movie herself and everything. It's okay. It's nothing special. It is what it is. But again, she's on the extra features, so, there's that. Then we have 13 Ghosts from Scream Factory, Shout Factory, when they used to be Good Factory. I like this movie. It's not the greatest movie ever made, but I do like it. I think it's a good little flick. The Dark Castle trilogy, or whatever people call this, House on Haunted Hill, and Ghost Ship. I remember when those came out. The only one I have on Blu-ray is this one, because there was a new interview with Shannon Elizabeth on here, and she's still hot. So there's that. She will always be hot. So there you go. But not a bad movie. I think Matthew Lillard said it was his worst movie or whatever. I'm like, did you fucking watch Wing Commander? Like, that was a movie I tried to like, Wing Commander. It just didn't happen. Then we have Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think this is the FYE exclusive artwork. I think. I could be wrong on that. But this is the Arrow release. Just fun 80s horror comedy. You can't go wrong. I think the video game is out, or it's about to come out. I'd actually like to play that. So we'll see. But we can't go wrong with that. And you can't go wrong with this movie, Breakdown, with Kurt Russell. This is the imprint release from Australia, because this came out before the American release. But I do want to get the American release, because that actually has a commentary with Kurt Russell. But this has extra features which are not on that release. So there you go. But really enjoyed this film. This is one that my parents had on VHS. I don't know what happened to most of the movies that my parents had on VHS. My mom said that my dad just took them to Goodwill or the flea market or whatever and got rid of them. But some of them I was able to keep. But most of them just disappeared one day. Because we had this on VHS, it disappeared. We had 7 on VHS. Some of them I saved, like I have The Godfather 1 and 2. I saved those. I saved The Flamingo Kid. There was a couple other ones that I was able to salvage, but I remember they just upped and disappeared one day, which is shitty, just like my Power Rangers V8. Well, a couple of them I still have from being a kid, but most of them just magically disappeared one day. But I love Breakdown. This is a solid movie if you have not seen it. And yeah, there's a bunch of extras on here. There's an interview with the director, Jonathan Mostow, which this is definitely his best movie. The stunt guys, Jack Noseworthy, who I love as an actor. He's pretty good in this movie. So, a bunch of good stuff on here. And like I said, I do need to get the American release, because that actually has a commentary with Kurt Russell and Jonathan Mostow together. It should be a pretty good commentary. Then we have The Hunted. This is the German release, because I got this before it came out here in America, but there's no new features on the American release, so it's not that big of a deal. But absolutely love this movie. I remember when it first came out in the theaters, and I was like, oh, cool, it's like First Blood, but, he kills everybody, which is how the book was, ironically. But really solid. I love the knife fights in this. The Chris Sayoc, who I think passed away, was the guy that choreographed the fights. It was his version of Filipino Kali, which for those that don't know is stick and knife fighting, which when I first started studying martial arts, I was spoiled because I did a lot of that, and I still love the Filipino martial arts is still among my favorite to look at and stuff. And I can still kind of work out that stuff a little bit with the sticks, just not for long because of my arm. But I really like the fights, and not realistic, of course, but good stuff. But this has all the features from the DVD, so there you go. But absolutely, always loved this movie. Always thought it was a solid film. Unfortunately, it did not do well when it came out. You'd have to look at. I think it came out. I think Daredevil came out the same time. There were some other movies that kind of took over the box office, but always really liked it, and I always look at that as the third Fugitive movie. What if Sam Gerard retired and did some different things? You could kind of look at it that way. I do. That's just me. Then we have Crimson Tide. Great film, which I still have on DVD because, like Sony, Disney did a bunch of these director's cuts of movies that weren't really director's cuts, and then they didn't put them on Blu-ray. Con Air was one. This was the other one. There was a couple. I think no, Copland they did. Copland they didn't put the theatrical cut on Blu-ray. There might have been a couple other ones. I just can't remember right now at the moment. But love Crimson Tide. One of my favorite Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington movies. One of my favorite Tony Scott movies. An amazing cast. James Gandolfini's in it. Viggo Mortensen's in it. Matt Craven, who I've always liked as an actor. Bunch of people. Bunch of great actors in this film. But awesome movie if you have not seen it. It's like Hunt for Red October if it was at a faster pace. So there you go. But both are great. It'd be a great double feature. So there you go. And then Good Morning Vietnam. One of my favorite Robin Williams performances. And did he get nominated for this? I want to say he got nominated for an Oscar for this, but I could be wrong. But he should have won regardless. He should have won for this. He definitely should have won for The Fisher King, and he didn't. But great stuff. I always really enjoyed this movie. Another movie that has a great cast. Forrest Whitaker's in it. J.T. Walsh, may he rest in peace. Bruno Kirby, may he rest in peace. Barry Levinson, one of my favorite directors from Baltimore, and his son sucks. His son did Euphoria and all that. His son is an awful director. But, his dad is awesome. So there you go. Then we have, I thought I already talked about this, but I didn't. But Varsity Blues, one of my favorite football movies, one of my favorite 90s movies, to be honest. Great cast in here. This is all when these people, because it's guys and girls, they were coming up, in the scene at the time and everything. So it's a nice little snapshot of that era, late 90s, and when they would make teen, R-rated teen movies and try to appeal a little bit to broader audiences, which they don't do anymore. Like, what was the last, truly, R-rated teenage drama or comedy? I don't think anybody can mention them because they don't make those kind of movies anymore. But a lot of these from the 90s and the early 2000s, I remember when they would come out in theaters, and they would come out in the video stores and stuff. And a lot of those I really like. I still really like a lot of those movies because I got to watch a lot of them when they first came out. And, even though I was younger, I still kind of feel a little connected to the actors from that era. Like when I met Marley Shelton, who was in a lot of those movies, when I met Matthew Lillard, I tell them, I'm like, I know this, you hear this all the time, and it does sound weird, but, I feel like we grew up together. I felt like we're neighbors, or something like that, and a lot of them are like, yeah, I do get that a lot, but it's cool though. Hey, I'm glad that, people feel that way, feel comfortable in that way with, me and stuff. That's pretty cool. Like Danielle Harris, before she lost her fucking mind, I told her that when I met her. I'm like, I know it probably sounds strange because I'm a stranger. That's weird. I feel like we grew up together, like we were neighbors, or, we went to school together. She goes, well, we did in some way, shape, or form. I'm like, yeah, I guess, but, and I guess it's because I have, cousins that are the same age, and we watch these movies together, and so I guess it's that kind of thing, but hey, what the hell. And then we have Lassie, which I was watching this, and my brother popped in. He goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." Why? He goes, "You're watching Lassie." I'm like, "I don't give a fuck. I love this movie." So, because I used to watch this all the time when I was a kid, because it was constantly on fucking TV. I remember my cousin had the VHS, and he let me borrow the VHS a couple times. It's got Smalls from The Sandlot in it. It's got Michelle Williams, who was another professional retard, but this is when she was really cute and she was still kind of normal. Supergirl, Helen Slater is in it, so you can't go wrong. John Tenney, who I love John Tenney as an actor. Always really liked his work. Frederick Forrest is another great actor. There's a bunch of good people in here. Great soundtrack, too. It's got, the end credits is set to Jessica by the Allman Brothers, so that probably helped with my obsession with the Allman Brothers band. So there you go. I don't care. It's a childhood favorite. You can't go wrong. But it was just funny because I was watching it and my brother was like, "Are you fucking watching Lassie?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Are you feeling okay? Do you need to go to the doctor?" I'm like, "No, dude. Like, it's a childhood favorite." So there you go. And then we have King of New York. This is the European era release because this has more extra features than the American release. Great movie. Never really gets brought up, but still, the only thing that gets brought up is the scene where Christopher Walken kills David Caruso when he blows his head off with the shotgun, because people have memed that and stuff. But always really liked this film. Really solid movie. I like when Christopher Walken, for a little while, he would do a movie like this, or Suicide Kings is another one that I like. I need to get that. That might have a Blu-ray. I'm not sure. But good movie, Abel Ferrara. So there you go. Then we have another childhood favorite, which was constantly on the Disney Channel growing up for some reason. But we have Teen Witch with the very lovely Robin Lively, who I met her a couple years ago at Monster Mania. She still looks exactly the same. She's still fucking gorgeous. Always had a little bit of a crush on her because of this movie and Karate Kid 3 and some other stuff, but she's still a babe. So she's actually the most attractive of the Livelies, because Blake Lively is a professional fucking retard. So there you go. But yeah, always enjoyed Teen Witch. Got some decent extras on here. There's a commentary with Robin Lively. There's an interview. Good stuff on here. And this was Scorpion, who are not around anymore. So there's that. Fucking ear itches. I'm sorry. And then we have the Grease triple pack here, but I only got it for the movies. I don't care about the live special, even though Julianne Hogue is in it, who's fucking hot, and Vanessa Hudgens, who's also hot. I don't care about that though. I got it because of the movies. I love Grease and Grease 2. I don't give a fuck. Grease and Grease 2 were again childhood favorites. I still actually have them from when I was a kid on VHS, and I used to watch them non-stop as a kid. I remember when I was in kindergarten, the kindergarten that I went to was across the street from my grandparents' house, so I would stay with my grandparents during the week and go to school and then come home on the weekends, which I say come home, but was 5 minutes away. We lived 5 minutes away from my grandparents, so it's no big deal. But we did like a Grease day at school, and I remember like my grandmother like slicked my hair and everything. I wish I had pictures of that, but I don't. When I was in high school, we were going to do Grease as our like musical for senior year, and I was really excited about it. Then they didn't do it for whatever reason, but then the year after I graduated, they did it. I think they just didn't want me to play John Travolta because I would have killed it anyway, just saying. But love Grease. Grease is a classic. Grease is a timeless classic. And I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I like Grease too. So there you go. And I also, once again, I love that they are on separate discs, because it makes more sense to me. But there you go. And Grease 2 is probably the reason why I still want to bang Michelle Pfeiffer. So there you go. Because in my opinion, Michelle Pfeiffer is one of the most beautiful women of all time to this day. So there's that. Anyway, we're going to knock out these last two movies. Call it a segment here, and then we'll move into this. Anyway, Watchers 2. Love Watchers 2. This is from Shout Factory, Scream Factory, Scheme Factory, Greasy Case Factory. The reason why they put this one out and not the first is because Roger Corman owned, at the time he was alive, owned this one. Roger Corman's company does not own the first one. Universal actually owns the first one, which is why there actually is a Spanish bootleg of that. I want to check that out. But they were able to get Watchers 2. I don't know why they didn't do Watchers 3 or 4. Not that I give a fuck about Watchers 4, but I do like Watchers 3 because it's Wings Hauser. But Watchers 2 is awesome. Mark Singer being a badass. Unfortunately, there's no interview with him. So there's that. And then last but certainly not least for this part, we're about at an hour here, so I didn't do a straight hour on Steven Seagal, much to the enjoyment of the rest of you. But we have Shivers from the Vestron video line there, which this was a blind buy. I do like it. It's not bad. There isn't commentary with David Cronenberg on here, so I can't complain. But yeah, not a bad movie. Not one that I would watch again and again and again and again, but good stuff. You know, especially around the Halloween season, you can, pop that one in. So anyway, that is part 12. So we're done the bottom here. So we will pick up in part 13, and I will try. Again, I always say I'll get it done, but you guys know me. I like to tell stories. But hopefully within the next couple segments we'll get this done, and then we'll move over to the other shelf, which is the same as this, and we'll knock out those as quickly as we can. Try to get the Blu-rays wrapped. Again, not all the Blu-rays. There's plenty I have not watched yet, which are over there. We'll start rocking and rolling on that soon here. But anyway, thank you as always, and we will talk to you guys the next time. Later.